So once you start the tractor with the system connected, the display will first appear and you'll receive a caution message. This is a warning informing you that the guidance module startup is in progress. This typically takes around 2 minutes, and it just lets all of the modules on the machine load the information they need. You can accept this caution warning and it'll take you to the run page. On the run page, this is where the majority of the machine's controls are located. We'll just talk through some of the different controls on this page. First, you see the two downforce pressure adjustments at the bottom. One of these is for the track rows, so the row units that would be operating in the tire tracks of the tractor, and then the other one is for the remaining row units on the machine. You can increase or decrease the force on these row units with the plus and minus buttons on each of the adjustments. Pressing and holding each of these adjustments causes a ramping of the adjustment value, and so this can be used for large changes. There are 3 adjustment ranges for downforce. 0 to 100% is the typical operating range. For track rows, you can go above 100% to 150, up to 150% of total force. This allows you to provide additional force to your track rows in the event that you're operating with heavy soil compaction and they need additional help getting into the ground. You're also able to adjust below 0% downforce. When you go below this range, this is an operating condition that is used for soft soil types or when row units might have trouble with flotation. It's not really suggested to use this range unless absolutely required, however, because when you go below 0% downforce, the section control system will no longer be able to raise the row units. On the left side of the display, you see toggles for selecting the operating mode of the machine. The top toggle allows the user to select between auto and manual guidance mode, while the bottom toggle allows the user to select between using camera guidance or wand guidance. You can use these toggles at any time during operation to change the mode of the machine on the fly. On the top left of the display is the guidance on-off button. This acts simply to turn on and off the guidance system when you're operating in the field. Just like many machines equipped with GPS, this machine also has a nudge feature. This is used for incremental corrections during operation. If you have a large nudge value and you need to quickly remove that, you can hit the 0 button in the center to return the vehicle to the 0 nudge. There's a position indicator on the top of the screen that shows the side shift position relative to the tractor. When in manual mode, you're able to manually shift the toolbar left or right as well as recenter the toolbar. In order to do this, select manual mode in the toggle and then turn the guidance system on. Once the guidance system is on, you'll see that you're in manual guidance. To shift right, press and hold the right shift button. And to shift left, press and hold the left shift button. You'll notice in this case that a warning appears when this is happening. This is because the side shift module hydraulic circuit is currently not turned on. The display will alert you if you forget to turn on the side shift module hydraulic circuit, or if for some reason the side shift module hydraulic circuit becomes disconnected during operation. This covers the majority of the operating features on their main run page of the display. Another important page is the setup page. On the setup page, you have selections for implement, crop type, your nudge step, and brightness. Implement selection allows you to select between either a 12 or 16 row implement and a 24 row implement. This is only used during initial setup and for the initial startup of the machine. After the implement type is selected, it shouldn't need to be adjusted again. Crop type has 2 selections, either corn or beans. This needs to be chosen for the given crop that the machine is operating in. Nudge step allows you to change the increment of the nudge feature that we just looked at. This nudge step goes between 0.5 and 2 inch increments and is mostly used so that you can increase the rate at which the nudge is adjusted, particularly if you were to operate in areas with heavy side hills where you're constantly changing the nudge value. On the top bar of the user interface, which is visible on all operating screens, you see these 3 status indicators on the top right. The left indicator tells the operator whether the machine is folded or unfolded. The very rightmost indicator tells the operator if the toolbar is lowered or raised. The fault icons visible at the top of this taskbar are the traditional red or yellow icons that indicate the severity of a fault that might have occurred. Faults can be accessed either from the faults page in the menu selection or from directly clicking on the fault icon when a fault occurs. Here you can see on the faults page 2 active faults. In this case, one of them is an image processing malfunction and the other is a GPS communication malfunction. When a fault occurs, you'll receive the name of the fault as well as SPN and FMI information that can be used to access more information on the fault in the user manual. In addition, there's a fault message that can help with initial troubleshooting. In addition to faults, there are also data values for the sensors and switches used on the machine. These are raw sensor values that can help in troubleshooting as well. In addition, you can access the data from CAN messages being sent between the control modules. The machine is equipped with its own Wi-Fi network, which is used to connect to view the camera image that the machine is operating off of. To access this Wi-Fi network, you first go to the Salford Cultivator network on your mobile device, and then enter the password #FieldYourBest!! This will connect you to the mobile network and allow you to then access the camera image. To access the camera image, go to your web browser and type in the IP address listed on this page. This IP address is 10.100.100.1:8080. If at any time you need help with this process, there are connection instructions on the Wi-Fi connection information page that can guide you through this process. In addition to the connections page, there are other information pages on the display. One of them contains software version information that can be useful when knowing when to update the machine. In addition, there's some other display information if service is required to the display. In addition, there's another user interface that's required for the machine to operate the section control system. This user interface works through the tractor VT to operate the section control system. Here you can see the page that's displayed when the section control module is powered on and connected to the VT. The first step in operating the section control system is changing the system from road mode to operating mode. The system starts in road mode as a safety measure and needs to be deactivated in order to operate. Once the system is out of road mode and is in operating mode, the system can then be turned on. Pressing the power button in the top right turns on all of the row units and causes them to be actuated, lowering the row units. Buttons on the left and right here allow you to turn off row units sequentially from the outside of the toolbar. For example, pressing this button here shuts off row units from the right side of the toolbar traveling inwards, and their opposite button turns them back on. The same thing can be done for the opposite side of the toolbar to shut off row units. This is typically used if you're operating against guest rows that have varying spacing and there are issues with the outermost row unit coming in contact with crop. In addition to the features on this page, you can also set a minimum ground speed value for which the row units are actuated. If you have this set above 0 miles an hour, then the row units will not actuate until you're operating above that speed. This is typically set around 1 mile an hour for most operators and is useful so that when you come to a stop and back up, the row units automatically raise so that you don't risk damaging any of the row units. There are other information tabs that allow you to see the area that you've covered and distance as well as work time. And then additional settings for total distance and throughout the life of the machine. Okay. The section control system uses the same sort of mapping as any other implement added to the VT. And so when you first use the cultivator, you'll have to set up a new implement, and then the implement can be operated on your existing field maps. The way the section control works, you must first perform your headland passes before doing the remaining passes of the field, so that the system can understand where there is overlap in order to raise the row units.